Hi, this is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's
the Krypton Report. Host Tyler, and welcome to Krypton Report, a podcast dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl. We're going to look at the Supergirl TV series as well as the Krypton TV series, anything that has to do with the characters in their world. Comics, movies, TV shows. We will talk about everything and anything. We are part of the Southgate Media Group podcasting network. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, Apple Podcast, please leave us a review to help us get better. You can find me personal at JTYPatrick on Twitter and everything else. You can buy a Krypton Report t-shirt at tpublic.com. Check it out. They have all sizes, colors, styles of shirts. Just go to tpublic.com and search Krypton Report, and you'll see our logo. And every time you buy a shirt, it helps support other podcasts from southgatemedia.com. Thank you. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Krypton Report. It is I, Tyler, your host, with a special guest, the Superboy of my existence, Solomon, solo in the background, playing with the collection of Superman and DC pop figures. And along with me, because I can't talk to myself because that gets boring, is a man who fights for the never-ending battle of truth, justice, and shall we say, the American way. Mr. James Cole. Welcome, James.
Hey, Tyler. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. So, we're going to jump into some news real quick. So we continue our... Hey, Solo. Hey. We don't have to, scream, buddy. It's cool. We got this. We're going to talk about the news, so we're just going to jump on in. Start with, some rumor stuff. So, apparently, here's hoping, fingers crossed, we're supposed to get an open-world Superman game by the makers of the Arkham Knight, which would be Rocksteady, right? They did say Arkham Knight, or they say Arkham Origin? No, I can't remember.
They did say Arkham Knight.
Okay, so I was say all the Arkham games were done by Rocksteady except Arkham Origin, which I like that game. I play it.
Me too, Neil.
I play it every Christmas because it's set on Christmas Eve, so it's kind of like my December Christmas game.
There you go.
So I'm almost done with it. I don't have a lot of time to play, and I've just been playing it slowly over the past few years. Kind of like it that way. It just kind of fits my pace and style.
Right.
So I like the idea of an open Superman game. I think it would be fun. We haven't had a solo Superman video game since Superman Returns, the video game.
Superman Returns. Yep. Yep, that's the last one.
You don't really see a lot of movie video games anymore like you used to.
Well, Superman Returns, the flight in the open world thing was pretty cool, but the final boss of the game, spoilers if Superman fans haven't played it, is a tornado.
Wow, I totally forgot that.
Yeah.
I really forgot that. That's very...
Yeah. Well, in the movie, that's basically what it was, is he was fighting, disasters, not one thing or person in particular.
It's true.
But, an open world Superman game by the makers of Arkham Knight. Arkham Origins I do love that. I don't, it was a little different because it had a different makers, but made by half of the same studios, just not Rocksteady. Yeah. That's kind of where it lost its grittiness. From the Arkham trilogy.
Yeah.
But actually the fighting Bane in that game is actually one of my favorite parts, because you actually get to have a physical confrontation with him instead of him being just a hulking beast that all you can do is dodge and let him run into a wall.
Yeah. Bane is a character that Solomon loves, so
he looks awesome in Arkham Origins. I really do like the way Bane looks and acts, and he's intelligent.
I like Copperhead and Deathstroke too in that game.
Yeah, the Deathstroke fight is pretty awesome. But I am really, really hoping that that rumor proves to be true. Yeah. I would love open world Superman game.
So would I. I don't know why. You've completed your Batman games, your Arkham story. Why not go with something else?
I get you imagine wearing almost any Superman costume. I mean, how many skins has the Arkham series had for Batman over its games? Can you imagine all the different Superman suits that you could fly around with?
Oh, I know. Just 99 cents them things, and people will buy the crap out of them.
Oh yeah, I will have every skin available.
Yep.
Ultimate Edition, Season Pass, what have you. I will have it all.
Yes, because the only games I ever buy Season Pass for have been the Injustice games. So an open world Superman game, yes.
Yeah, I did that for Arkham Knight, and I did that for Injustice 2. It's the only games I bought the full Season Pass for, and the Ultimate Editions and whatnot.
See, right there, we got our money.
Yep.
What else we got news-wise? We've got once again, this is kind of old, but they put it up again that the Flash movie is the Flash movie. It's no longer Flashpoint, which, I kind of liked your idea before, what you said about him being a young Flash and creating Flashpoint as an accident. I think they could still do that kind of story arc of him screwing up with time and being a young Flash without the huge impact that Flashpoint is. I think it's too heavy of a story. I'm cool with that. I'm all right that they're not going to do Flashpoint. Let's let him breathe before we take him there.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the idea of it being a rookie mistake. I'm hoping that if they ever do get around to it, that, he doesn't discover that he has the ability to time travel until that point. And then he's like, oh, time travel, I can do this. And then it's still a mistake. It's not like something that he's experienced time travel before, and then he still goes on to make the mistake.
Exactly. It would be something, that he would accidentally do. So, Flashpoint, I mean, let's see what they got. I'm excited for a solo Flash movie. I have a friend who's a huge Marvel fan, and he saw Justice League, and he told me, he liked The Flash the most. So he's very interested in seeing a solo Flash film based on that Flash.
Yeah, and that was Justice League was just a small introduction to the character. I mean, there's so much more to flesh out of the character. He's young. He's the rookie of the bunch,
which is great for a character building, so they're not all 32 years old.
Right.
So we got that. And, with movies, we got Shazam finished wrap. They wrapped filming, principal photography for Shazam. So that's, moving along nicely. So maybe before, but maybe not Comic-Con, we'll get, a Shazam trailer. So
a minute long teaser at least.
So I figured that'll be something at Comic-Con to look forward to from DC. Will be Shazam. Maybe more heavily than, say, Aquaman, but we'll see. We got a supposed film slate that was put up proposed like DC films, and you know, all this stuff I take with a grain of salt. But it said it was a Warner Brothers released like a film slate that they have going on, and I don't know how to take it. You know what I'm saying? It's for 2020, and the only movie on here that I've actually heard about more is King Kong versus Godzilla. So I'm like, okay, but we have DC film in February of 2020, DC film in April of 2020, DC film in June of 2020, and then it just says DC film of July 2020. And it's, February 14th, April 3rd, June 5th, and July 24th. 2020, that's 2 years away. I mean, we have no idea what those could be. Like, I'm not even going to take a guess at what any of those might be because we've had so many rumored in development DC films.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can think of being, and this is only a guess, because it being a Valentine's Day weekend, would be the Birds of Prey movie to be released on Valentine's Day with Harley Quinn.
And I mean, that's highly possible. I mean, supposedly Suicide Squad 2 is supposed to start filming this year, and so is Wonder Woman 2. But right now, like, I'm just at the point until they start actually filming, I don't take anything too serious. We know.
Oh yeah, that's just a total guess.
we know we're getting Shazam, and we know that we're getting Aquaman, and we're just taking that with a stride.
Yeah.
Everything else, I'm like, okay, cool. That's where we're at with that. So that's an interesting. It could be, for all we know, the Birds of Prey, the Flash movie. It wouldn't.
At least we know there's a few people attached to some stuff. That's always possible to change.
Yep. If I had
just
to
hope
guess,
things are still moving forward.
Yeah. If I had to guess, it would be out of those four. Like you said, one would probably be made the Birds of Prey, and one would be the Flash movie. Just because those have directors and writers attached to them, and actors,
Mm-hmm. Right.
I feel like that's a little bit more serious. So now, moving to something a little bit more cool is after all these years, Zack Snyder released a audition photo, another one, this time in color, of Henry Cavill in the Christopher Reeve Superman suit. What did you think about that photo?
Well, I think Henry he looks the part of Superman. So, he stood out. I mean, he still looked like Superman. Is he as Superman built as he is now? No, but he still looks like a young Superman.
Yeah, especially a young Superman from the 90s, because his hair is rocking 90s. But yeah, it's a cool photo. I wish we could just get a regular, like, behind the scenes looking, straight up, full body photo.
Yeah, like a straight costume test photo.
Like, I want to see him with the boots and everything. So that's cool. I mean, that's just, more stuff that it's crazy. That's like, 7 years old maybe, we're getting it now, but it's still exciting to see. And then hopping over to the DC streaming service, supposedly these are the first 9 episodes of the Titans series. Once again, take it with a grain of salt, but this is supposedly what is being confirmed. Episode 1, Titans. Okay. Episode 2, Hawk and Dove. 3, Starfire. 4, Rachel. 5, The Doom Patrol. 6, The Messenger. 7, Jason Todd. 8, Angela. 9, Donna Troy. Okay. You know, for the most part, most of those sound pretty much just like character names because it is character names. But you know what? We don't know that much about the Titans series. So, for all we know, that could be the titles.
Yeah, the only ones like pretty much confirmed are Titans and Doom Patrol. They did say before that it is going to be Titans is the name of the pilot, and then they did show a screenplay or a script.
Yep, for
saying that saying that episode 5 was called Doom Patrol.
And while we're talking about so when they made the big announcement, we didn't really talk about this too much about the streaming service and the shows, is that I guess Metropolis is being redeveloped. They don't want to basically, I think, go with what their original idea for Metropolis was, which I don't think anybody was really, excited about. So I'm kind of curious about where they're going to come back with a redevelopment of Metropolis. I'm just thinking, just give us a Superman show. Give us a Superman show with Tyler Hoechlin, because that's what people want to see. Like, I genuinely want to see more of his Superman. I rewatched the first 2 episodes of Supergirl with him in it, and I really like his Clark. I like his Superman. Give me like a 10-episode season of him as Superman on the streaming service.
Oh, yeah.
You want something to sell? Give us that.
Right. I mean, all the characters, Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, they're very strong characters, but they're supporting characters. So to kind of make a show that revolves around supporting characters, it's a third Superman show that would basically be a television show that has no Superman in it.
Yeah. We're getting to the other one here in a minute, but seriously.
And you know what? Honestly, for me,
keep some of the themes ideas that you were going to go with Metropolis. Like, if you want to do some more heavy, like we talked about, focus on Lex. Give me an episode with it's about Lex. One about Lois, and then about them learning and discovering Superman. So maybe some of them exist in the past. But don't completely give me a show void of it. You have Makad Brooks that you could bring over to play Jimmy Olsen. And kind of make it another tether, and just because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, there's 4 actors on TV right now who all play Superman. No, my TV Superman right now is Tyler Hoechlin. So let's just keep it like that.
Yeah. Well, for me, that would really only be the second Superman show that wouldn't have Superman in it. But, because Supergirl, she deserves it to be her own show.
Yeah, she totally does.
Do I like to see Tyler Hoechlin Superman in it once in a great while? Absolutely. He did such a good job in the episodes he was in. But, I like the fact that Supergirl, because it's always been Superman. She's never got to stand in the forefront, and I'm glad she has her own show, and it's been doing well, and I'm so excited we're getting a 4th season.
I'm totally with you. It was like when he was appearing, it was one of those man, I liked seeing her, but I really liked him. And I don't want him always on her show, but I do want to see him. So put him on his own show. And then just today, before we recorded, Sci-Fi announced that they're renewing Krypton for season 2. And I'm like, cool. I don't hate Krypton. I like it. I think it could be better. We've kind of said in this series, I can't wait to watch all the episodes straight through again in a binge kind of thing to kind of see the story pieced together a little bit more. I think parts of it have been drug out. So I think that if season 2 is not a massive hit, that'll be the end of it. because I have a feeling that season 1 is good enough to get a season 2, but some people are kind of checking out already from just listening to people, comic people and stuff who've already kind of left the series or not really giving it its full run. And I get it, because I feel like some episodes are great and then some are just holding back. I feel like they're always holding back, leading you to the next one instead of just giving us something to enjoy at the moment. And we'll get there more, but
yeah, I mean, it's only 10 episodes. I don't see why people are checking out so fast. It's and I do understand that a lot of people just jumped on because the amazing look of Brainiac, it gave us that great look and showed him just for a minute early on in the season, and then he hasn't been shown again. It's been all about his sentry on Krypton, not Brainiac himself.
Yep, exactly. So that's our quick news wrap up. Now we're going to move on and talk about Krypton. All right, so we're going to jump into this. We're going to talk Krypton, Episode 8, Savage Night. James, what was your first thought of this episode?
My first thought, early on when it starts, kind of jumps back into the past, goes back to the first episode. So I kind of thought we were going to get another episode with a lot of history in it.
Yeah, I thought like I said, 2 weeks ago. And okay, so that established that the entire Krypton series right now exists like in a 2-week period of time, because it showed up Adam Strange and Seg talking. And then we see that Adam Strange was blasted to the place where the Zeta tube came from, the Zeta beam. And he was talking with Sardath.
Yeah, Sardak. I think I've heard that name before. I just can't figure out where.
Like I've said before, like I don't know a lot about Adam Strange. I thought about, beefing up my knowledge, but honestly, I don't really want to. I started to look up stuff and then I'm like, he's not a very successful character. We learned he's not really done anything super heroic.
Yeah, and it seems more and more that his comic book history is probably going to have little bearing on, the short season.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I don't know if I really want him to carry over to season 2 at all. He's not giving me anything. He's just a dude in jeans. He moved on to a point where he appears to Darren Vex, and I'm like, is Adam going to be almost villainous?
He did stress that, didn't he? Darren.
Yeah, Darren Vex. So I was like, is Adam going to be villainous now? I thought that was kind of a... It was kind of
I kind of got that too. I was like, he's there. He's now, trying to make sure that Brainiac succeeds because, his goal is to save Superman. And for that to happen, Krypton has to be destroyed.
And I mean, that's heavy if you really think about it, for Superman, and he praises Superman, and that almost puts him in that villainous role of, let's compare him back to Zod's motive in Man of Steel. For Krypton to flourish, for his people he has to destroy all people of Earth. Wow. For Superman, one person, how important is that one person that having traveled back in time, you have to make sure this whole world is, wiped out.
Well, we do know the importance of Superman in the DC universe. I mean, he's the greatest. He's the greatest hero the entire universe over, and for how many generations? And he inspires people for thousands of years beyond.
So it makes me wonder if there'll come a time where will Seg meet Kal-El. Like, could you imagine? Like, I almost thought, like, well, I'll get to it in a little bit here. Yeah, I'm gonna hold that quick thought. Just keep that in mind. So I really like that we get Kim as looking for Ona, making sure she's safe. Like, he genuinely is concerned for her safety. Like, he wants to take care of her.
Oh yeah. He promised, she's his responsibility.
And that's going to play back into this episode more. And we learned that Brainiac's plugging himself into the Genesis chamber. Well, the Brainiac Century. I'm still upset we haven't got full on Brainiac by now. We're like 2 episodes away. But he's plugging himself into the Genesis chamber and basically pulling a Matrix, where he's using the embryonic energy or whatever to power himself. Like, they're not even people yet. I don't even know what to consider it. But, he's drawing energy from the Genesis chamber, and they make a huge point that that's how Krypton populates. And my thought was, why can't they go back to populating naturally?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of my thought exactly.
I was like, okay. Because Nyssa, like, once again brings up, like, her and Seg's child. And part of me kind of wonders, will Nyssa and Seg's child end up being Jor-El? Like, since he's, supposed to be ranked again as Seg-El. Like, he has his name. And...
Well, and that... Was it? Well, in the last episode, at the end, the voice said that he was going to be abolishing rank. So, I mean, at that point, it's just a name. It's a family name, not the rank.
Which is kind of cool because. Yeah, buddy. What? What's Solo? What do you want?
I want to get up there.
You want to get up here?
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Well, one thing that I had brought up before, and I just looked up now, the actor who plays the voice of Rao,
yeah,
is the same actor who is cast as Brainiac.
That's good.
I knew they looked the same.
Shh, Solomon.
Hard to tell with the green makeup and the CGI.
Well, I kind of thought that the century of Brainiac was going to be done a little bit different, where it was like Brainiac, in a sense, he has not one host body.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're talking Superman. We're talking about Superman. Did we watch Superman today? Do we watch some Superman today?
We watched Doomsday Superman today.
Yeah, we watched about Doomsday. Where's my notes? Here. So, I put this in my notes, early on, why they've not mentioned, and I'm just going to call him GZ for General Zod at the moment, his first name, since we can't really just call him Zod. And then, skipping ahead, Jaina references him as Drew Zod. So, it was really awesome that we got. So, we got the mention of Drew Zod, which made me really happy.
Yeah. And I really liked his interactions with Jaina in this episode.
Yes. And he talks about they're going to get Black Zero. And this might be out of context, but she asks him, why wasn't he destroyed on Krypton? And he tells her the history of, he planned a coup. He was imprisoned in the Phantom Zone. Tells her a little bit about the Phantom Zone. And he tells her it was by Jor-El. I think he did that as a dig on her. And, just once again, like how the L's and the Zods are at war with each other in a sense.
Yeah. I like the fact that, along that, I like the fact that that Jaina actually goes to Seg and tells him that Zod was in the Phantom Zone, that he was a prisoner, and that she doesn't believe that he is there to save Krypton, that he's come back to rule Krypton. Exactly. That she has a distrust for him.
And I mean, that's big considering that, she talks about, Drew. I'm just going to call him Drew for right now, since we got it. Is a Zod, and they know he's a Zod. But she's worried about him. What?
Yeah. Well, she does know that, her coup was to save Lyta. She chose her family over honor, which he did, seem to respect. But I think she's weary. I think she sees that he can be manipulative, and that he didn't stage a coup for like family. She betrayed that he did for power.
Yes, she betrayed her honor for her daughter, to save her daughter. And I think any parent out there can understand risking everything to save their child. And we're going to jump back because with the concept of the power, because there's a line that's mentioned about the upcoming power vacuum, and we meet finally Black Zero.
Yeah, I'm guessing the leader of Black Zero
is Jax and it's a woman, which is different because he says this is Jax and I didn't think. I mean, I don't care that it's a woman, you know what I'm saying? But in the comics, it wasn't, and I didn't know if they had mentioned that earlier when they mentioned the name, but they hadn't. So I thought that was interesting. And she has a history with Darren Vex. And she agrees to help Zod, Drew, that is, in an attempt, to take out the voice of Rao if they bring her Darren.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure after all that if he was going to make it past this episode, so I don't think he's quite done yet. We'll see where that goes.
I hope they kill Darren. Just axe him. There's certain characters I don't need around. I think he's almost outused his purpose because, Brainiac Century makes a comment about using him because he still craves power even though he's in the presence of his superior. So I'm really okay, Brainiac's going to use him for something, but we'll see. So they used Dev M, who I thought was completely dead, who's not dead, in the fortress to kind of hack into the neuro link of the other Sagittari that are controlled by Brainiac. And we see that Dev no longer has an arm.
Yeah. The what they call them, the red shard, I think is what they said.
Yeah, that does.
But yeah,
that just, if that's the name, it sounds right, but it just sounds horrible. They could have created something better than that, but they should just let James and I write it. And
yeah, I was kind of. I mean, I thought Dev was. I was surprised he was alive, and then I thought during the hacking that Val was doing, that it was going to work, but I thought that Dev was going to die.
Exactly. I thought when they brought Dev, I thought he was basically going to be dead, almost like a zombie, because it was just going to be the Brainiac controlled part was alive. There was no more Dev. He was dead. It was just a robotic zombie body.
Mm-hmm.
And then
kind of like the voice seems to be.
Yes. So we get a really. Kim is trying to find Ona. He's trying to save her. He's trying to tell her about the voice. He's trying to get her to come back to him. And that's just something we have to keep in mind. So basically, we get a shot that I thought was really cool of like the sky, where we see how the city that, you know, Kim and Seg are always in, how far down into the planet it is. You know, that they are digging and drilling through Krypton. And that's where like all the rankless and stuff are, is in the planet.
Right. Yeah, the city seems pretty high up there.
Oh, we didn't mention when Zod and Jaina are talking how Zod talks about Superman. Like, he really says the only thing that makes him super is the fact that he went to Earth on a yellow sun and gave him powers. And you can hear the distaste that Zod has for him. And just mentions it was like dumb luck that, you know, he was saved.
Yeah. He does play the part of a person who's already fought against Superman. You know, the Zod who already has the distaste for the family, being imprisoned, and then, you know, Superman stopping him from, you know, ruling Earth and everything else that Zod has tried to do over the years.
So we get a scene where it's the Sagittari around the Voice as he's plugged into the Genesis chamber, and the Black Zero people come running in and start fighting, and Drew gets picked up by the Voice. And who is it that shoots the Voice and takes it down? Jaina.
Yeah, which I put, you know, in my notes I put Jaina kill the Voice ? And then, you know, shortly thereafter,
was he pulling a Skeletor / Emperor Palpatine? You know, Emperor died, but Skeletor popped up at the end of Masters Universe and said he'd be back, but he never did.
Right.
Which everyone thinks they defeated it, you know.
Right. Yeah, Jaina, she was, you know, during the battle with the Sagittari, she was done. She was like, all right, I'm done hiding. And she stepped out and she kicked all their asses. Like, she is a major badass.
Yes. And I mean, that's why she's the leader. And, you know, so when they get, basically we learn that Jaxor, they delivered Darren Vex to Jaxor. And basically Zod, Drew that is, has control of Black Zero soldiers until the body of the
Voice is found.
So that's an interesting little plot point. And then everyone's celebrating and having like a good time, a drink or whatever. And they're at Kim's bar, and Ona shows up, and she's saying, "Out of the fire we are reborn," which is a chant that we've heard from the Voice / Voice Brainiac Sentry through this episode. And what the heck, man?
I know, right?
Seriously.
Like, I saw that as soon as I saw it start glowing. As soon as I saw the writing on her face start glowing, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that's going to happen right now."
Ona was a bomb. Like, she blew up, and we see Adam Strange show up and use his Zeta thingy. Cause like,
yeah, his Zeta beam device.
It's weird because let's say he puts a crystal, and I couldn't tell if it looked like he transported himself and Ona away, like the explosion. I thought maybe this is where like he would transport him and Seg, and they would go to Earth or something. But that's where we end. Like, you know, we don't know where Adam is, and there's Kim, like, just heartbroken and destroyed watching Ona die.
Yeah. Yeah, when he came in with his Zeta beam device, you know, he hit the button, that crystal stuff came up. Like, I thought he was just, like, using the Zeta beam to, like transport the explosion, you know, because he set it up between them.
Yeah.
And I thought the explosion was just gonna, be sucked in or whatever. And I had no idea where it would go. But then when Adam came out on the other side, like, they didn't show anything. I mean, it looked barren, and there was just a lady there, and she was like frozen in time almost. Like she wasn't blinking, she wasn't moving, like she was in mid step, but then her eyes turned to look at him. And yeah, that's right where the episode ended. I was like, what? Just like he did.
It was like a cliffhanger without a cliffhanger. Because I was like, I don't understand enough of what just happened for this to be a cliffhanger.
Right.
But that was episode 8 of Krypton. And what would you rate it?
What would I rate it? I think that it's an 8.5. Adam getting determined in his mission. He now believes that Zod is the time traveling villain that he's supposed to stop. And now he knows that that Krypton has to be destroyed for Superman to be who he becomes. And I mean, like you said, it's just, I mean, that's got to be a tough thing to doom an entire planet of people, especially since you've been there for, even just a couple of weeks. But to decide to doom an entire planet of people, for the greatest hero the universe has ever known. I mean, that still takes some pretty strong will to decide to do that.
Yes. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's crazy. I would rank this. I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of the momentum that had been built up just didn't quite continue over. I guess I just wanted some more out of this episode. And I felt that it was good, but I don't know. I don't know if I can rank it. I think maybe part of it's because I had to watch it in segments and bursts, because every time I started watching it, I got stopped, had to do stuff with the kids or make breakfast and then clean up and then go back to it for a little bit and then put Sailor down for a nap. And I didn't get to watch it a second time. So I'm going to have to pause on my ranking and think about it and come back to it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, as I go, it'll be interesting to rank the whole season as a whole when we see where it goes.
I'm gonna post this when this season ends. I'm gonna post a thing. I want to ask people, think about all the recent DC series, and I'll list them, and think about just their season 1, and kind of rank which shows where. Because I think that would be an interesting thought of which shows did you really like at season 1 only? Because all of them are in different seasons now. And it's too difficult to try to break it down. Which one's your favorite? Well, a show that's been on for 5 years, 6 years is bound to have some good stuff and bad stuff compared to one that's in its first season. Mm-hmm. So if we just look at the shows from the first season, I kind of wonder where Krypton's going to fall into that,
Yeah, as a whole, it's trying to judge each episode for its own, because we still there's still so many unanswered questions. Mm-hmm. It's what is this episode? What does this episode provide? Is this episode furthering the entire story? How does this episode hold up by itself?
Trinity. No, this isn't the Matrix or Jesus. This is Krypton, the 3 world killers. So let's move on. And with a title like Trinity, I really would have hoped that it would have been more about what each world killer brings. They're more a part of something. Of a whole, other than just they are 3 world killers. I don't know. I think it could have been more, but let's just jump right in.
Yeah. And so what was the reason behind their whole eclipse, blot out the sun plan? Like,
just
was it just a limit?
Like throw the Earth out of balance, bringing darkness,
right?
Literally bringing darkness.
Yeah, that's about it. Like, you would think, like, is it just to destroy and move on, or do the world killers have any other, like you said, history of the world killers? What does each one of them do? Where, what's their overall goal here?
It's kind of like Rain is only Kryptonian when the script wants her to be. Like, she only has Kryptonian byproducts when the script allows her. And then when they don't want it, like, oh man, the sun would take, it doesn't take Rain's powers. She's good. It's like they have.
Well, they did that with the Blue Sun earlier in the season. Kara didn't have her powers under the Blue Sun, under the Blue Star, but Rain still did. So, I mean, that's a consistency, but.
You're right. You are absolutely right. See, I feel like this season, especially with the breaks, has been really hard just because there's little details just like that I had forgotten about. I do love this show, but I also have 2 kids and a wife. So I do forget some things.
Yeah, well, and then when they put it an entire month behind everything else with the wacky schedule.
Which is crazy because everything else is about to wrap up, but we'll still have Supergirl, which will be nice because we'll be trying to cram everything in. But Lena is now being interrogated. And you know what? I'm kind of on Lena's side. Her friend came to her and asked for help, and Lena has no really, she knows the government doesn't like her just because she's a Luthor, but she has no reason to trust the DEO. Like, she doesn't know that Alex is DEO. She doesn't know everyone who's part of it.
Well, at least, that she lets on. Later in the episode, she does tell her that she knew she was DEO, but she didn't push the issue.
True.
She figured she'd tell her when she wanted to or when the time was right.
And I'm on Lena's side because she's trying to do everything she can to help her friend, to protect her friend, without turning her friend over to what she could consider a shadowy secret government organization. Because what she say? You're never actually been recognized as an organization.
Right.
So she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting with her character, is she's trying to be so benevolent and, she's trying to do the right thing. But, is she gonna, is some of the things she does, the secrets, being able to, as we discover later, make kryptonite, like, some of these things could point her in the direction of, following the Luthor line.
You're right. I think
if she feels betrayed in the end,
especially if it's revealed that, screw it. Let's jump to the end.
My bad.
No, you're fine. Cause it brings up, well, since we're talking Lena right here, we'll jump to the end. So Jimmy comes to her and admits that he broke into her lab as Guardian, that he is Guardian, because Lena said she had kryptonite, and that's how she kept Rain, and it was Lex's kryptonite. So Lena and James are having this really great, I think, realistic, open discussion about and their line of work and stuff like that. Sometimes they have secrets, but it's to trust each other with those secrets, and Jimmy says, you were right. You were helping out a friend, and you weren't trying to betray that friend. And he comes out, tells her his Guardian, and then Lena confesses to him that the kryptonite wasn't Lex's, that she figured out how to make it. Boom. Mic drop. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's awesome. Because that makes, because people, you always have that problem with Superman, Supergirl being too powerful, but the idea that they can manufacture kryptonite puts them in a whole new perspective of weaknesses. What could happen? Now it's like, where is this formula?
Well,
who knows it?
Yeah. Well, that makes her, her very, integral to that situation. Like, what danger does it now possess to them, to Kryptonians, if that formula is out there?
Exactly.
And in the past, they've tried to make kryptonite in many iterations, but it always had varying side effects.
Let's just jump back to season 1 that we don't ever talk about. The person that magically just disappeared, Maxwell Lord, who tried to make kryptonite and made red kryptonite, and what we got with that. But I was just thinking this now, with Lena having the knowledge of kryptonite, okay, and how to make it, but also having a cellular structure of Sam, is that going to be like part of the key to stopping Reign? Is they're going to tweak the kryptonite specifically for Sam's DNA, being, she's part Kryptonian or whatever the world killer is. They're going to adapt the kryptonite and make specific one for her to obliterate Reign.
Curious.
So I literally just thought of that now. As long as it's not black kryptonite, that's all I'm saying.
So we just can't do that again.
Yes, we can't. Now, I was like, this just seemed like too much of a plot contrivance that Supergirl had when the sun's being blocked out, has like that vision or whatever and passes out and magically like appears in the hold on, it's right here in my notes. The Saw-Rin Valley, which is the plane where Sam's mind is, like the one, whoever's not in control of the body and the other one's there. I just thought that was a little too convenient.
Yeah.
That Supergirl is like magically in touch with it. But we'll go.
Yeah, it seems a little bit of mysticism in this episode.
That we kind of just jump into. Like, I get that supposedly it's a cult of Kryptonian witches that created the world killers. But for Supergirl, just like the whole like pseudoscience of we can use Supergirl as like a battery to project to the plane. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, you just kind of took a huge leap right there.
Right. Well, what's interesting is, I mean, we know that the Kryptonians have discovered at least, another dimension being the Phantom Zone, but like, did anybody discover this? Did the witches discover this plane of existence, this dimension? And is it science or is it mysticism? Like,
right?
It seems like there's a lot of mysticism in the episode when, the essences seem to converge, but then, Brainiac is able to use Supergirl and scientifically send them to this plane to interact with Sam.
Right.
And Julia.
So Brainy sends Supergirl and Alex, because of course Alex is going to roll with her. That's cool. That's dope. That's sweet. And she also sends Lena. And I agree with Lena when she says, I know Sam the best, because she does know Sam. Now, granted, they still, for some reason, don't realize that Kara is Supergirl. Whatever. But she's right. Like, she does know Sam. And she's been helping Sam. So if they want to reach Sam, having Lena with him is the right play.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing is, I like when it's the human side of the world killers talking, that they're haunted by the victims of the people they've killed. I thought that was creepy, but really cool at the same time.
Yeah. Speaking of on that plane, I like when Supergirl is getting tired and is this what it feels like for humans to exercise? It's like, why would you do this to yourself?
Exactly. I thought it was funny. Like, now, okay, from an aesthetic point of view of visualization, did you notice that in the plane and everything, everybody's in black except Supergirl?
I mean, Sam was in her
scrubs.
Scrubs still.
which is
Did
neat.
Julia have a red shirt on? I mean, Lena and Alex,
Yeah,
they
and
were
Alex are in black. You know, the villains are black.
Right.
Supergirl's in her costume. I just kind of find that interesting from like just the point of, okay, because, you know, colors symbolize and mean things.
Yeah.
Now, we do see that they catch up with Sam and Julia, who are writing things down on rocks, trying to remember because they're starting to forget who they are. And all it takes is remember Ruby, and that's kind of what's helping break Sam from Rain. And I'm just like, okay, that's kind of really simple and convenient. I don't know. I just think the whole going in thing was, I don't know. I think it was, I don't want to say stupid, but it definitely kind of pulled me out of the story a little bit. Going to that plane, and
At least they were able to use it as a plot device, you know. They were able to go in there and, you know, trigger Sam, you know, by using Ruby, her you know, her heart, the only thing she has in the world.
right.
And
I mean, granted, like,
waking her up so she could send out a signal so they could locate the Fortress of Sanctuary.
I always forget that name. I don't even know why. I think I'm just stupid, but that's why I have you here. So jumping back, they all come out, and they have the lock to go to the Fortress of Sanctuary. And so Wynn develops a new suit for Alex to have her own kind of suit, which is cool because it's just sleek and black and uses magnets and has a really sweet gun so that Alex can have like a one-up on the World Killers. I'm like, that's sweet. But whatever happened to her little like Kryptonian exosuit thing she had before? You know? You remember that? What was that, season 1? Maybe that's why. It was in season 1.
Yeah,
Can't bring it back.
Oh, yeah, that seemed... Yep, different network. Can't bring it back. Basically part ways with everything.
No, I did really
In
like
season 1.
Lena was on the Legion ship and like basically was like figuring out how to fly it because, you know, I'm kind of a Lena fan, you know, like I want her to do good. I want her to succeed.
Yeah. You know, that's the one thing though that they're getting right with her that I don't think that they ever got like perfectly right with Lex Luthor. I mean, Lex Luthor was so brilliant, like Lena is, like just sit down in front of something and start figuring it out.
I don't think we've ever gotten a really true to form Lex Luthor on live action. You know,
yeah, because like
Gene Hackman's Lex was great, but that was like because when they rebooted in the 80s with Man of Steel, the books is where we got the Lex Luthor that we all are accustomed to knowing. You know,
right.
Up until then, he was more of just the mad scientist genius, which makes Gene Hackman's portrayal great. But it's not the Lex that I know and grew up with. So it's kind of an odd Lex. Well, then Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor is built off Gene Hackman's. And then Jesse Eisenberg's is kind of trying to be that, but it was a little too far out there, and we didn't get enough time to really get to know him before he went maniacal. I've always been a fan of the Lex character where he's like a hidden villain, where he's a villain to Superman, but Superman can't prove it yet. But a lot of people praise and love Lex Luthor. That's why he's the politician, the businessman, and he gets away with things. You know, and Rosenbaum did a great job. My opinion, he's the best Lex that we've got.
Oh, hands down, he's the best Lex. And there was a lot of things that he was really intelligent with, but not like Lena is, not like he has been portrayed as being a 12th level intellect.
Exactly.
That, you know, even Lex Luthor, even Rosenbaum, he had scientists doing so many things. And, you know, being the multi-billionaire, he's got to delegate these types of things, but we've never really got to see that from Lex Luthor, and we're getting to see that from Lena. So that's really interesting.
Exactly. And that's our point, people. Lena's awesome.
Yeah, she is. They're doing very well with her.
So
I'm enjoying her character.
So am I, and I'm wondering if they'll take her more villainous next season. We'll speculate next season stuff once this season's over. We'll see, because I think she's going to figure out the whole Kara Supergirl thing and where that's going to leave us. Oh
yeah, well, we've got all the way until June 18th for Supergirl.
I know. I keep feeling like it's at the end. I'm like, nope, wait, we still got some time. Now they end up killing Blight / Pestilence. And then,
well, they actually complete their eclipse master plan, and but they get through to Julia. So
yes. So Julia overcomes
and
Purity.
Yeah, and fights Pestilence, and Pestilence stabs her and poisons her and kills her, but not before she does that sonic scream right in her face and just shatters her head.
With Purity, doesn't seem like it'd be like a light or something, like a white light or something. I don't know. I just think the sonic scream of Purity just doesn't make sense. But
yeah, I never got it, but
I'm like,
it is what it is.
We already have Black Canary 2, the Canary, and Black Siren. Okay, don't need another screamer.
And we even got to see
Silver Banshee.
Silver Banshee, and we even got to see Laurel from Earth X. Was it Canary X or something?
Yeah, I was about to say, did they give her a name? I don't remember. So yeah, we don't need another screamer. But so those two kill each other, and then Rain absorbs both their powers, so now she's like a triple threat. So why didn't that just happen in the first place? Why didn't Rain? That'd been kind of neat if Rain's mission was to find the other world killers and take their powers. Like that.
Yeah,
that would have been a cool twist. Like she was to get them all together and then take both their powers, and that would have thrown off everybody. But Rain gets away, and the Legion are all like, "We stopped Blight." Did you? The power set is still there in Rain, and they really don't know what happens with Supergirl and Rain. So did they really save the future or just alter its course?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the episode ends, like we said, with Jimmy coming clean about Guardian and Lena dropping the bomb about making kryptonite. So, how would you rate this episode?
Well, last episode I brought up the fact that they had all these heroes in one shot, but John wasn't Martian Manhunter. He wasn't, he wasn't looking at like his natural form, and but in this one, when they came to the Fortress of Sanctuary, you got all of them: Imra, Mon-El, Supergirl, Alex in her new costume, and Martian Manhunter Jean. So you actually got to see this big super lineup, of these all powerful aliens, and they kind of redeemed that shot from the last episode. But with a lot of the things, they're kind of with this episode they really drew off of the last episode. It was pretty smooth, how they took the transitions and things. And I mean, the only confusing part, like I said, is kind of the science and super science and mysticism that the episode seems to kind of mix up back and forth. But.
And that's what gets me is I really like the start of this episode and the end, but the middle, I love the Lena story and I love the ending, but I'm not, that's something that kills me about this episode is the whole weird them in an astral plane type thing. I feel like it just doesn't really fit for what's been set up before and was very forced. So yeah. I give it.
It's another 8.
So I give it a 7 just because that middle stuff just kind of drags for me and throws me off. But the ending is so good and strong. So Oh, you almost had me there.
Well, I do the only kind of saving grace there in the middle is even in another dimension, Alex is the one she doesn't have any powers, but she's the one who's standing up and being strong in the other dimension. She's trying to be leader of the team.
Yeah, even when she's herself is, like you said, she doesn't have any powers, and I almost wish it was just an Alex and Lena mission. Like Supergirl had another mission or something, could have been a nice twist. All right, so are you good for maybe another 10 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Action Comics Special #1, or do you just want to discuss quickly the DC Nation Zero Superman story?
Probably the DC Nation Superman story. I can get that. I can actually get to that one pretty quick.
Okay.
To have for a reference in front of me.
Cool. I got them both sitting here, so we'll just do that real quick. And it's really short, so.
Yeah. Well, my Action Comics is on my tablet, and that could very well be dead right now from my kids.
Gotcha. That's cool. I'll say if you want to, we can include that in our next episode, the Action Comics Special.
Okay.
Okay, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
There it is. Presentation. I have No Justice issue 1, but I haven't read it yet.
Me neither, and somebody spoiled something that happens in it to me. So.
Oh, did they?
So yeah, I'm gonna read it from the website just because I haven't got a chance to go to the shop. So.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I look. I look at the my comic book shop. They do a Facebook Live every Wednesday morning, see the new comics out and stuff. And so I saw issue 2 come out, and I was like, oh, I haven't even read #1 yet, and I have to buy issue 2 this Friday.
Yeah, I went into the shop, and they were all out. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I got there late, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm definitely going to read it. But, all right, you ready?
Yeah.
1 minute.
Wait, didn't we talk about this last time?
No, we talked about talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how crazy we are.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So we're catching up on our comics because, like we promised, we're going to try to review every Superman comic as it comes out after Action 1000. So this is a 11-page Brian Michael Bendis script that appears in the special DC Nation #0. That was a special that came out on Free Comic Book Day for 25 cents. I mean, could you pass it up, 25 cents for this awesome comic. So it's called Office Space. Yeah, we need a Bane pop figure. Solomon says we need a Bane pop figure.
Oh, I would totally have a Dark Knight Rises Bane pop figure. That would be awesome, I think. One with a coat, if it's got it. I think that'd be sweet.
That sounds awesome, actually. It does. So we have the story opens with Perry White, and I really like this take on Perry White. And he says, I'm trying to find the exact quote. I like this. He says, no one talk to me about Superman unless it's based on truth. Anyone remember truth? No more editor headlines, commentaries, or letters to editors about being afraid of Superman. I don't want to print what he could do. I want to report what he actually does. That is what I'm talking about with Superman.
Yeah. I think that I wonder if that has anything to do with the plot line that was shown early on in Doomsday Clock, where like Batman is being protested against, and they're not trusting him. I wonder if that's spreading to fear amongst the superhero community.
Yes, and while we're talking about Doomsday Clock real quick, remember when they released like the Doomsday Clock images and stuff, and it has Superman, and he doesn't have the trunks yet, but now here we are in Man of Steel, and he has the trunks. So I'm like, will this Man of Steel stuff like tie into Doomsday Clock? Since or not? Like, where does that fall in the timeline? Since Doomsday Clock has now been pushed back more. We'll see. Maybe it's one of those things where this will come out, but then Doomsday Clock will explain why he's got the trunks back.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, I thought, that Doomsday Clock was like a year in the future from the current continuity, and by the time it was going to wrap up, like the current continuity was going to be caught up to it, kind of thing. But
yeah, I think that was the plan, but it just seemed like it didn't work out.
Yeah, that's the way it seems.
You want to say that? So we have Clark Kent show up in the office, and he's like talking to Perry. He says what he's got, and it shows Superman fighting in the jungle and fighting people wearing Lex's armor. And the one thing about this story that really kind of confuses me is the whole Lois angle, because she's not there, and like Lois is supposed to be his wife, right? Like, it just feels very odd.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is with the Lois angle.
It talks about giving him Lois's office, and we have these Clark's bubbles talking, and we see that Lois is actually there, hiding in the background in disguise. And there's a new reporter that shows up, and I'm trying to find out where he says her name. Robinson Good. And it's just, I don't know, it just feels weird with the whole Lois, the way that they're talking about Lois, and I'm like, what's happened? Like, I'm liking the story, but at the same time, like how much is going to change up continuity or what with when he takes over?
Yeah, like where, like why is she in hiding?
Let me see.
Why is, like, her and Clark, like, she's still, like I said, she's still his wife. And then we have a really interesting thing where Perry confronts Clark about his writing, that his story is weak, and it just, I like it because it kind of shows that Clark isn't perfect. And that, Perry's telling him he can do better, that there's been a writing he's done that's moved me to tears. Where is it here? He says something about, where is it? Where is he talking about? Lois, like, is it because Lois is gone? He says, and with Lois gone, I need you to be your best no matter what is going on in your world. And it's just, like I said, so then Kent goes off, flies out from the top as Superman, and Robinson's Good sees him, and then the last page is her talking with somebody in a club, and she says, where is it? By Wednesday, I will own the place. She's up to something. And I mean, like I said, it's a quick short story, and it says Man of Steel 1 on sale May 30th. So that's coming up here in a few days. Well, like 2 weeks. But, I mean, it was a good story. I like his take on Perry.
What's he doing?
James and I are talking, buddy. So.
I see here. It says she's writing a bestseller. Maybe she's gone off to be a writer instead of a journalist. I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, I guess it's just building mystery, you know?
Right.
That's what they're doing, so. But, I mean, like I said, I like it, and we'll see where it goes, you know?
Yeah, there's a good bit of dialogue, you know, some inner monologue, and like, yeah, she's definitely up to something. I don't think she saw him. I think she meant to follow him to the roof, or heard that he goes up to the roof a lot, but he's not there when she comes up. Yeah. He's already flown off.
I don't think she was like supposed to figure out who he is and what.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I'm really curious about what Bendis is going to do. So I'm not judging until everything.
Yeah, she says here Lois Lane is MIA and no one knows where. It says Clark Kent is a hot mess. So yeah, she's trying to weasel her way into something.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal, log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.